folks, welcome back to another Throat Punch Lunch. Thanks for coming back and joining us. We do have a lot of great segments lined up for you this week. As per usual, my contributors are continuing to work very hard to provide some quality entertainment for you guys, so I hope that you enjoy it as much as I have already, because I try to view everything before we post it. So, we're kind of business as usual right now here at Dice Tower Studios, and we are pretty much just chugging along, getting things done. We do have our first convention coming up in a couple weeks up in Miami, Ohio, so we're looking forward to that. Recon, I think is what it's called. So we're looking forward to that. We're trying to get ready for it, trying to get a little bit ahead, but for right now, instead of me blathering on, let's go ahead and get to the segments because that's why you're here. Let's get to it.
Hi, this is Ambi from Board Game Blitz, and this is Blitz Stop Mechanic, a segment where I pick a mechanism and then talk about games that use that mechanism in a cool thematic way. This time, I'm talking about real time. Real-time games don't follow a typical turn-based structure of the common board game. Instead, everyone is doing actions at the same time, and there's usually some sort of timer for the round or the game. There are a lot of games that use the real-time mechanism to add stress in a fun and thematic way. One example is Escape: The Curse of the Temple. In Escape, players work together to try to get a bunch of treasure from a cursed temple and then escape before time runs out. The game lasts exactly 10 minutes, with a soundtrack indicating the different things that happen in the game. Everyone rolls dice in order to do their actions, but you can re-roll as quickly as you want, as long as you don't get the cursed side of the die. So you're frantically re-rolling to get the dice rolls you need in order to navigate through the temple and escape in time. The whole theme of Escape is that you're trying to get out before the temple collapses on you, so the real-time aspect is a necessity in bringing the theme to life. Another newer real-time cooperative game that uses the real-time mechanism well is Kitchen Rush. In Kitchen Rush, you're all working together in a restaurant kitchen, trying to get ingredients and cook up the customer's orders in time. This game mixes real-time with worker placement by using hourglass timers as the workers. So instead of having turns to place your workers, you wait until the hourglass timer runs out before you can move a worker to another spot. I think this is a really innovative and thematic way to use sand timers, since it simulates the time you need to do the actions, like preparing the ingredients, washing the dishes, or waiting for the oven to bake the dish. Another game that uses real time is Captain Sonar. Although Captain Sonar also has a turn-based mode, the main mode is a real-time submarine battle between two teams. In the game, each player has a different role on the submarine, and you're trying to find and destroy the other team's submarine. The real-time mode adds a lot of tension to the race to find the other team, since as in a real battle, if one group works faster than the other, they'll have the advantage. I really like real-time games, especially real-time cooperative games. The stress and tension that real-time adds often brings out the theme of a game. Thanks for watching Blitz Stop Mechanic. What other games use the real-time mechanism in an interesting way? Let me know in the comments.
Hey everybody, it's Jay, and it's time to talk about your flair. On 15 Pieces of Flair, I'm going to show you guys some ways to spruce up that game room. Well, last episode, I promised a Sagrada-inspired dice tray, so let's check it out. For this project, we're going to need a small metal sheet tray, some pony beads, a 1/4 inch piece of plywood pre-cut to 7 1/8 inch by 9 inches, a 1x2 about 32 inches long, wood glue, a quick action clamp, a hammer, some small nails, a ruler, permanent marker, a wood burning tool with precision knife tip, silver spray paint, super glue, a miter saw, and not pictured is a sandpaper block. To start, preheat the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Then while that's preheating, I went through and separated all the bead colors first. Then I began to lay out all the beads in a color scheme similar to the top of the Sagrada box. When laying the beads out, I put the whole of the bead facing up. I don't know how important this is, but my wife told me to do it, and I actually do listen to her every once in a while. By the time you've got them all laid out, the oven should be ready. Now these particular beads aren't the type of plastic that release toxic gases. And if you do this project, you want to make sure you get the proper ones so you can be safe. But these beads do have an odor when melted. So you can either do it in a toaster oven outside or on your porch or something like that, or you can do it inside. And if you do it inside, you want to make sure you open the windows and turn on the fan for ventilation. Go ahead and carefully put them in the oven in 10-minute intervals. Mine took 30 minutes to melt. As you can see, I have a couple of voids in the middle of my sheet. To fill them, I just take a bead and crush it with some pliers and fill the void with a couple chunks. Then back into the oven until those melt, which was another 10 to 15 minutes. As you can see, when it cools down, it pops itself away from the pan and falls out easily. Now on to the actual tray. You can measure out each cut with a tape measure, but I prefer the method where you use your base piece to measure. You go ahead and cut the wall piece to 45 degrees on one side. Then you take your wall piece with the side cut to 45, then measure it using the base and mark onto the wall the exact length of the base. Then cut at that mark at an opposite 45-degree angle. Use this method for 2 of the perpendicular walls. Then you can use those 2 pieces to make 2 more identical pieces, giving you 4 pieces in total. Then using the same gluing, clamping, and nailing process as my coffin dice tray, go ahead and put a bead of wood glue on the bottom of a wall piece, then quick action clamp it into place. Then nail the base into the walls from the bottom. The long walls I use 3 nails per, and the short walls I use 2 nails per. Always double check to make sure the walls are in the best orientation and not crooked before nailing. Then you just let that wood glue dry completely. Go ahead and measure the length and width of the inside of your tray. I just put my ruler onto the tray and marked it exactly on my ruler each measurement to make it easier. Then I marked onto my melted beads with the permanent marker the width all the way down that I needed to cut. Using my wood burning tool with precision knife tip, I carefully cut along that line. I found making a slow and steady cut was the easiest. And the best technique ended up being making a long, slow score along one side, then flip it over and make a long, slow score along the other side. Then you can just easily break the piece off in a nice clean cut. Once you have the width cut, you can mark along one side to cut off the rounded edges. Once that's cut, you then measure and mark the length you need to cut, then carefully cut along the new line. Once you have all your sides cut, you can take your sandpaper block and sand the edges. You'll want to get all the burrs and roughness off before going any further. Careful not to scuff up the surface, because blemishes could show pretty easily. Once your wood glue is done drying, you can partially hammer a nail into the bottom side of the tray and bend the nail using the hammer. Then hang the tray using that nail and a piece of string. Go ahead and spray paint the entire tray silver in a well-ventilated area. Make sure to cover it completely in silver, but be sure not to have any runs in your paint. Let that dry completely, then you can remove the nail and string. My melted beads had a rough side and a perfectly smooth side. Face the rough side up and apply a bead of super glue around the outside of the melted beads. Then carefully flip it over and install that onto the tray. Don't stick your fingers in that super glue unless you want a permanent dice tray attached to you for a couple weeks. From there, you're ready to roll. Boom, there you have it. A quick and easy way to add some functional flair to your game room. I really love this dice tray. I love how it turned out. It has so much pop on the shelf. It looks great on the shelf. It looks even better on the table. It sounds awesome when you roll the dice in it. I was just using it to play One Deck Dungeon with my buddy Justice. What's up, Justice? But anyways, if I could improve a couple things on it, I wish I knew how to get rid of the air bubbles in the melted dice, but I don't know how to. I'm sure my wife might, but I don't know how to. But also, I would add some trim around the bottom, around the outside, make it look a little bit more refined, a little bit more polished. When I do that, I'll be sure to give you guys an update video on it, show you how easy it is to add some easy little trim around the outside of wooden things and make it look that much better. Otherwise, I think it's pretty awesome. I'm definitely going to use this thing all the time whenever I can if I'm not using my coffin tray. Anyways, on a side note, if any of you guys want a chance at winning Codenames Marvel, I'm giving it away on my Facebook page and a small piece of flair to go with it. But if you guys just want to check that out, pique your interest, go there and enter to win. But if you guys have any suggestions on games or ideas you'd like me to make into some flair, leave them in the comments below or shoot me a message on my Facebook page, pique your interest, or Twitter or Instagram at halfhandicapped. Those work too. But don't forget, 15 pieces of flair is the bare minimum. Some people choose to do more, and we encourage that. Have fun, everybody.
Hey folks, welcome back to another Just Missed It segment here on Throat Punch Lunch. Well, this is where we talk about games that just missed the mark of being a great game. And of course, it's in my opinion. You could absolutely disagree with me. That is completely okay. You always have the right to be wrong. Today, we're looking at this game right here, Lancelot from WizKids. Now, if you watched my review, because I did do a review of it, I posted it last week, I did say that I enjoyed the game. I really did enjoy the game. It was fun. I liked it, but it just missed the mark of getting a seal of approval from me for a couple of different reasons. Now, the general idea of this game is that everybody is trying to rise to the position of a Lancelot, to be second in the kingdom, or whatever you want to say there. And so basically that's what we're doing here. We're trying to vie for the position of Lancelot, which on the offset is kind of strange because Lancelot was Lancelot. Nobody tried to be him. He was him. So again, that was a little weird, but on the offset, I was really pulled in by the theme. I'm a sucker for Arthurian legends and lore, and this is what really pulled me in. So you have all of these different places on the board, and you travel around to these different places in a clockwise formation. And as you're doing so, you are gathering different kinds of resources, is generally what it is. You're getting squires and swords and maces and lances, and you're stopping at these different ports of call to get these different kinds of cards that you need to use. But the whole point of the game is to go on these different quests and score different points, and you have different quests. There's an honor quest and a integrity quest and all that, charisma quest and all this other kind of stuff that you're going on to try to get points, and it just wasn't there. It was fun enough, but it just wasn't great, and I was expecting greatness from this theme, as I usually do from themes that I really enjoy. And it just missed the mark for me. And I really wish it hadn't, because I really wanted to like the game. I thought the box art was great. The board art was great. The card on one side, the art on one side of the cards was great as well. There was just so much going for it. It just left me a little bit disappointed in the execution of the thematic inclusion. So you can watch my review for everything else and all of kind of the details of the pros and cons that I went into, but I did enjoy the game. It was fun enough for just kind of a, okay, yeah, that was good, but that's about it. So Lancelot just missed the mark of seal of approval for me. I'm really kind of sad that it did, but that's just the way it goes sometimes. Thanks for watching. Let's get back to the rest of your lunch.
323 to 584. D5. Adam Young, 1955. Okay.
I'm the newest deputy of the IPP, the Intellectual Property Police, and I'm here to tell you whether these games that rely on intellectual properties are free to walk committed a misdemeanor are gonna serve high time for that felony. Today we're gonna look at the Addams Family Reunion game. And as a big fan of snapping my fingers and of the Addams Family, I tell you what, I'm looking really high for Lurch to score a good game here. Let's see what we have today.
Each player will get an invitation that will include their guest list. When they obtain all the guest lists from their guest deck and have the food token, then they win the game. Each player will choose one of the members of the family.
While this game isn't going to set the world on fire for intellectual property games into modern gaming, for a 1991 release, it's really not that bad. If you're a fan of Gomez, you can be Gomez. Or would you rather be Pugsley? Or, my personal favorite, Lurch.
On your turn, you will utilize this high-tech spinning device that's actually Thing's hand. Whatever you roll, you move that number of spaces. But because it's the Addams Family, you do it backwards. You will go counterclockwise instead of clockwise.
Ah, a spinner! I'm going to have to put this in my report.
What makes this game so unique is that when you land on a spot, you do what it says. For example, if you land on Thing, then you spin Thing and move that many spaces. If you land on one of the characters in the family, you take the top guest card, and if you need it to fulfill your guest list, you simply take it face up in front of you.
I do like the action spots, where you get to draw a random card from the deck and see if it meets your needs. Or, if you really get lucky, there's a spot where you can go through the deck and find any card that you want. Also, there is a spot if you land on, you can go anywhere on the board that you want to go. Yeah, I think that's a lot of fun.
On your turn, when you go through the cemetery, if you land on a space, you do what it says. You can bury a card, which means take a guest from somebody and put it on the bottom of the guest deck. When you pass to pick up one guest, you can pick up one. If he's on your list, you get to keep him.
You want to be careful going through that cemetery and having those random draws.
If you land on go to stairs, you get to pick another player, and you will race down to the cellar. How do you do that? I will spin the spinner, 4, and get to move 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Now it's your turn to spin the spinner. You get to move 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, until somebody gets down here out of the cellar, into the cemetery, and you get to pick out any one guest out of the entire deck. I get to go through it. Who do I want at my party? Definitely Cousin Ed.
Woo-hoo, that was a rough experience. Another spin and move, is that the best they could give us? I do like the Addams Family. I like the idea of having invitations. I like the idea of getting food. Who doesn't like to eat? But in a spin and move, and that race that we do down the stairs to the cellar to get to the cemetery, oh my. The other players are just sitting there waiting on everybody else to play while we're racing the spinner down to get to the cellar. What could be more boredom for them or for me?
One of the most exciting plays on the board is to flip the coin to take one guest or two. So you take the coin of Lois Adams and you flip it, or when you get Donald and Dexter. If that is true, you get 2 guests.
Sadly, I'm going to have to say this game has committed a felony. I do love the Addams Family quite a bit, and I really wanted a good Addams Family game. There's so many things that you could have done. Wait, what? You don't move clockwise, you move counterclockwise. Let's downgrade this to a misdemeanor.
Hey, welcome to Throw Punch Lunch. My name is Bobby, and this is These Totally Geeky Games, where I make recommendations for those geeky friends of ours who have interests outside of our hobby. And this week I wanted to cover those friends of ours that are fans of the Terminator series. Recently there was news that Jim Cameron is back involved in the new Terminator movies, and I know that excited a lot of people. It excites me for one, and we'll see what James Cameron can do to salvage the Terminator series, because I know a lot of people didn't really enjoy the recent Terminator movies that have come out. But if you're fans of the Terminator series, or if you have friends that are fans of the Terminator series, what games would you recommend to them? Well, I would recommend, it depends on kind of what aspect of Terminator they really enjoy. I'm going to cover 2 aspects. A lot of people enjoy the second Terminator movie, and I wouldn't blame them. It's probably the best. But the second Terminator movie, there's really a feel of a ragtag group of a mother, a child, and a robot that are trying to outrun and outmaneuver a very sophisticated, technologically advanced robot as they try to carry out a mission. And the game that reminds me of is Spectre Ops. Spectre Ops is a one versus all hidden movement game wherein the one person plays an agent with special abilities that try to infiltrate a facility and carry out a secret mission. And everybody else plays the hunters with their own special abilities, and their mission is to seek out the agent, find them, and take them out. And so I'm sure you can see the similarities between that game and Terminator 2. So if people like Terminator 2, I think they would enjoy Spectre Ops. And that's a cool game wherein part of it is cooperative because it is a one versus all game, so you could have the new person be one of the hunters and you could be an agent. Another game that you might recommend to them, if they really find the dismal future dystopian picture that Terminator paints, if they find that interesting, if they find it captivating, the war between Skynet and the human resistance, I would recommend Neuroshima Hex. Neuroshima Hex is a tactical game wherein all the players take a faction. The factions come from everything from androids to ghoulish creatures to mechanized humans. You take a faction. Each faction has a backstory. The universe is really well established by Portal Games. I'm pretty sure there's an RPG set in that universe as well. And you kind of duke it out. And that is for players that or friends that really enjoy that dystopian picture that Terminator sets up and really enjoy that universe and how established and interwoven it is. I would recommend Neuroshima Hex. So there you go. Those are a couple games that I would recommend to fans of the Terminator series. Let me know in the comments if you're a fan of the Terminator series, what games you enjoy, or what games would you recommend to friends of yours that are fans of the series as well. Anyway, I'll see you on the next Throw Punch Lunch. My name is Bobby, and this has been These Totally Geeky Games. Bye.
Hey everyone, this is Tim Jeanette the Metal Meeple, and this is the Budget Board Game Breakdown. So I just realized I talk about clearance games and budget games, secondhand games, so I never really tell you a lot of these different places that you can get them. Now, I've always mentioned the secondhand market, such as thrift stores, yard sale, and Craigslist. The problem with those is it comes down to two things, or one of two things. Either you're lucky that you've went at the right time to find a game, or you have endurance and then you're always visiting the same store at the same time, like every single day. That can get tiresome. Like I said, it's a crapshoot because you don't know what you're going to find. Typically for me, if I find something I've never heard before, I always want to have at least a 6.0 or higher on Board Game Geek before I touch it. Otherwise, if it's $1 maybe, but if anything else, I just try to at least get 6 and higher. You can usually find some pretty decent games that way, even though they're not games you might play 50 times. You might play it 3 or 4 times or whatever, which is worth $2 to me, actually. You can check out eBay. eBay is really good. I mean, you just want to sort by the right sorting. You can sort by stuff that's going to end real soon, and you can usually snipe a couple of items that way that no one's bid on, and they're really cheap and such. But let's talk about where you can find some clearance and specials for brand new games, because not everyone wants to go find a bunch of used copies and then make sure everything's there. Speaking of which, the secondhand market, I also forgot to mention that Board Game Geek has a buy and trade thing. You always see it when you go to a game and you scroll down. You'll see where people have it on sale in their marketplace. But anyway, new games, right? So other than cool stuff, which I'm going to talk about, everything else on here is solely my opinion and has no affiliation with the Dice Tower or myself. I'm just kind of giving you guys some suggestions based on my personal experience over the years. The first one, like I said, is CoolStuffInc.com. On Cool Stuff, you can find clearance board games. Usually have a daily deal. They have other stuff too. Typically, they don't have a lot of games at one time that are on clearance. You usually go and they might have the dozen or so that they have. So that one's okay, but every once in a while you will find a really good deal on there. MiniatureMarket.com has a vast, huge clearance and discount sale area to the sites. Usually, I think it's at the top you'll find it, but they have tons and tons of games, a lot of different games for good prices. And like I said, you just gotta have to sort through it, and you have to when you go into these discount sales and things like that, you kind of have to know a little bit about games to find the right ones, because otherwise you're just spending a lot of time on Board Game Geek looking up everything. But if you're familiar with it, when you kind of, you know, the publishers and things like that, you can make educated guesses as well and just look up certain ones. But you know, there's a lot of hidden gems out there. There's a lot of games that fly under the radar that just don't get purchased by people, and they end up in these clearance and discount places. So definitely check out Miniature Market. On their newsletter, you can sign up, and they have a deal of the day thing as well. But again, you also want to make sure that the shipping, if you don't hit the free shipping limits each order, that it's not going to ruin the price of the game if you're buying 1 or 2 games like that. So FRP Games has now been called Game Castle with a K. That place is a great place. They have a discount sale. I think at the top you have to kind of click these little 3 lines, and then you'll see discount sales. They have stuff all the way up to 80% off. Mostly it's a lot of old miniature games like the Spartan games or the 15mm games that just kind of came for a while and then they went away. You can find all kinds of stuff there if you're a miniature gamer. They do have a lot of board games and other accessories and RPG stuff on there too. So it's, even if you just don't like miniature games, I would definitely check that one out. The next 2 are mostly for the CCG gamers. We have Potomac Distribution and DACardworld.com. The first one I think is PotomacDist.com. They sell tons of sealed booster boxes for games, especially older ones on Potomac Distribution. You can get some really out-of-print games. Those are a little bit more expensive, but you're talking about buying booster boxes. Typically, you're buying them at cheaper than what they were when they were out. But if you go in with a couple of people or a group of people and you want to play a CCC that's dead, this is definitely a place to go. Paizo.com, who is normally known for Pathfinder, that is a great place to go. They have a clearance section that has tons of stuff, not just RPG or Pathfinder. Definitely check that one out. There's some really great deals there. And lastly, on Board Game Geek, at the bottom right of the main page, or you can go in the forums, there's the buying and selling section. And this is a very, very good thing to have a resource for because it has like a hot, you can click hot and active post, or you can click recent post, and you're going to be alerted by like the Barnes and people are always going to post on there about like sales and things like that, like the Barnes and Noble sales that are 50% off and just anything out there, especially Amazon deals, which Amazon has the highest rate of counterfeit items, so depending on if you want to support that or not, because if it's like a one-off, you're kind of wary, like how do they get so many copies of that or whatever. Otherwise, Amazon does have their sales as well. So anyway, I'm curious on what you have. Post stuff below if you want to help each other out. You know, where do you go to find your discount and clearance items? And if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Email me at timjeanette@gmail.com. Follow me on social media and check out my podcast, Meeplecore. And until next time, keep on rocking and rolling dice.
Don't tell Sam I told you this, but Eclipse is a better game than Twilight Imperium. What, you're going to take his side on this now? Well, it doesn't really matter. Whatever your favorite space opera is, today on Rook and Record on Throat Punch Lunch, we are picking the perfect soundtrack to get your space expeditions on. And we got to think about these games, right? So on Twilight Imperium, or Eclipse, as is rightly the best game that we should be thinking about, you're trying to balance this sense of discovery and wonder as you explore the cosmos, but at the same time you're having to do battle, protect what's yours, or maybe take what's someone else's. And you need something that really captures that scope and the emptiness, the vast wonder that is space, that's serene and beautiful, yet terrifying and a bit sinister. And so we gotta go with 80s space opera vibes. But we don't necessarily gotta go all the way back to the 80s to get that. Yeah, the perfect soundtrack for Eclipse is gonna be Mass Effect, the trilogy, the soundtrack on vinyl. This is not only one of the coolest records in my collection, but it is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. Not just to video games, but anything, period. And yeah, I am a huge fan of Mass Effect itself, but this soundtrack is one of the things that I love most about the game, and it just is the epitome of what a good, incredible soundtrack can do, amplifying the feelings and tones and themes of the material that it accompanies. And that can transfer onto Eclipse as you're playing it, or Twilight Imperium if you're wanting to play that. This thing is a masterclass in dynamic range as it pulls inspiration from some of the most important and seminal science fiction works of the last 40 years. Movies from John Carpenter and Ridley Scott feel like they could be accompanied by this soundtrack, while at the same time it would be completely fitting to have it in something like Interstellar or The Martian now. And the reason is that it just is able to ebb and flow between things like a lonely sense of contemplation, or going into a bold discovery, or sweeping orchestration as you're about to embark in a battle, or having just blasting synthesizers as destruction is rained down upon you. All of this is digital, yet at the same time it feels organic and alive, mysterious and eerie, while still beckoning you to go further. It is one of my favorite science fiction soundtracks of all time, and to me it is the iconic soundtrack for you to listen to while playing Eclipse. Alright, what did you think of our pick? What is your favorite soundtrack to listen to while playing Eclipse? And what game do you want us to Rook and Recordify next? Thank you so much for watching the Cardboard Herald's Rook and Record here on Throat Punch Lunch. If you check out our channel, we got all kinds of other reviews, recommendations, and of course, plenty more Rook and Records for you to jam out to. So, once again, thank you. I've been Jack Eddy for the Cardboard Herald, and remember, the more that we do of these, the less bad music you will have to suffer at the table. These are so heavy. I gotta get out of here before Sam kills me for saying Twilight Imperium is worse than Eclipse.
Hi, welcome to Board Game Opinions. I'm Steve.
I'm Jonathan.
And I'm Mark. And this month our flavour of the month is Sagrada. Now, Sagrada is a game that I wanted to play for quite a while, but just getting a copy was so hard. Now our playgroup's got 2 copies or so, and we've managed to play it a lot more frequently. In Sagrada, you are building a stained glass window. You've got this lovely little stained glass big cardboard thing here, and you put one of these cards in the bottom. And basically, the card tells you how difficult it is, but it gives you some restrictions for what sort of dice can be placed on each tile. So yellow dice on here, 5s on there, and so on. On someone's turn, they're going to roll 7 dice, in this case for a 3-player game, 9 for a 4-player game, and so on. And you're going to draft in a horseshoe. So I'm going to pick one, Mark picks one, Jonathan picks one, and then back the other way until there's 1 dice left, and that goes on here for a round tracker. When you take a dice, you have to place it in your grid with certain restrictions. You can't place the same colour or the same number orthogonally adjacent. But to do how do we go about scoring? Well, basically at the start of the game you get a hidden card. This tells you that I'm going to score all my pips on my green dice. They'll have different colours of dice, so I want to try and get big green dice. And you also get 3 different scoring tiles each game that will change throughout the game. For example, this one you're going to score columns that have 4 different colours in. And you also get bonus actions you can take. So there's a lot to think about in this game, but it has been played quite a lot over the last month or so. What do we think?
I really like it. I think its biggest strength is simplicity, with meshed in with the fact that it's a brain burner. It's definitely a brain burner as the game goes on. But it's easy to teach, and what you're doing physically is easy to do, but there's a lot of thought that goes into it, and that makes it so solid a game.
There are just so many things to think about. It looks so light. It's so deceptive though. The first time I played it, it's like, oh yeah, this will be fine. And all the way through I was like, because you need to think about when you place the dice, it can't go next to the same number. It can't go next to the same colour. But you want to have the matching scoring thing, so maybe you need all the different colours in one row, all the different numbers in a different column or whatever it is. So each time, for every dice, there's so many restrictions. And at the start, it's okay, but as your grid begins to fill up, it then feels like it's almost impossible. But it is definitely doable. You can do it, but you really have to think.
Yeah, and even filling your grid doesn't actually score you points. So the first game I played, I found so hard at filling my grid in that I kind of ignored what actually scores me points. And I filled my grid in for things that were just worth nothing to me. So you can actually win without filling your grid in if you focus on the point scoring aspect of it.
One of the things that's nice is these extra special abilities. Depending on how difficult your card is, you get different numbers of these tokens. and they're worth a victory point at the end, each one. So if you don't spend them, that's good, but you can effectively spend them to activate these abilities, and so you find maybe you've messed up somehow, which I should say is very likely in this game. You've accidentally put something which means you can't score this objective. Some of them might let you move the dice around or flip them over when you draft them, and it gives you lots of extra options that make it not quite so punishing, and that's really nice.
And it has a bit of interaction as well, so as you're drafting around, you're not necessarily trying to do people in, although you can do. You can try to think, what's going to get back to me? So if I'm going second and the next person's going to take 2 and it's going to come back to me, what are they not going to take that I want? So do I take the red 6 or the green 1? Which I want both of them, but which one's more likely to come back to me? So you can look at their boards and you can think about, you know, what they pick's going to affect you.
And better players will be able to hate draft. When you get better, you can start doing that, but you have to be good at the game already. That's the real thing.
I haven't got to that point yet. No, there's a lot of room for improvement. There really is. But as you say, I'm still at the stage where I'm just totally focused on my board. Like, can I do this? Can I do this? I never even look at any of theirs. But yeah, you're right. When you get good, you'd be focusing a lot on what other people are doing as well. So you get a lot of replayability.
Yeah, it's not a spiteful game, but the interaction is there. It's not just a solo player activity. Well, that's us. We've been Board Game Opinions. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
This is Roy Canny from Epic Gaming Night, and this is Why It's There, where I talk about a game in my collection and why I'm keeping it around on my board game shelves. So today I'm going to be talking about a game that I played before I would really consider myself super into the hobby. It's one of the first modern board games that really shook me up and showed me a little bit of what board games could really do, and that is Betrayal at House on the Hill. This is a crazy random game that some people would say sometimes could be slightly broken, but that's just because sometimes the haunts don't match up exactly right with the situation on the board state. But this game is crazy the way the stories play out. With you play the game and you're just exploring a haunted house, and as you're going along you're finding different omens which could trigger a haunt. And this is the first game I ever played where there was 2 different books where you're running away. I don't think any other board game's really done the same thing, where you go with the different books and try to figure out what your side of the story is and what you're doing. If you're the betrayer, you're trying to do specific things based on the omen and the room that you found, and you're trying to take out your opponents. And then on the other side, the players are trying to do specific things to stop the betrayer. This game is crazy with all the different stories. There's 50 different stories in the base game, and this game's been around forever. Then they've added an expansion to it as well. This is a game that I played on my bachelor party. I had my dad and my best friend and my best man. We were all playing this game and it was a ton of fun. I still remember majority of the stories that we played, whether we're being chased down by a cat and we're trying to build a toy plane so we can fly out of the house, to giant plants attacking us and the spores are trying to choke us out and we're trying to figure out how to hack away at the plant to be able to stop it, or whether there's a crazy undead bride that's chasing us around trying to find her groom and make her marry him and kill him off so he's dead too. There's all sorts of crazy stories in this game that I've had a blast with my friends. So I don't care if some of the haunts can sometimes be a miss sometimes. The stories that this game has created for me make it worth playing, and it is a great game when you're around that Halloween time. It's almost like a must. You gotta pull Betrayal off the Hill, play it, because it just fits the spooky haunted house themes so well. So Betrayal at House on the Hill is definitely a game that's going to stay on my shelf, and it's going to be a blast to play forever. So until next time, I'll see you on Why It's There.
There is a 5th dimension, one that defies time and space, where the laws of physics need not apply and fantasy becomes reality. A corner of space populated with meeples and dice and cards. A place where board games rule the day. You have entered the Gaming Unplugged zone. This is Max, husband, father, and board game addict. He's about to learn an important lesson about life that he will soon not forget.
Whoa, what's all this?
Well, it's Valentine's Day, honey, and I thought maybe we could do something special and play a little board game.
That's right, it's Valentine's Day. I have something really special picked out for you, hon. I just don't have it quite yet, but I swear you're gonna love it. Oh, babe, this is gonna be great. I'm stoked. Awesome.
Okay, let's do this.
I'm gonna beat you. All right, well, you got the rooster. You go first. Oh, I was gonna excavate. You keep doing the moves that I want to do.
Okay.
Oh, you won!
Yep, I told you.
You always beat me!
I know, I love this game.
Ah, you just keep winning, no matter how much I practice, and I've been practicing a lot. Wow. What's all this?
Well, it's Valentine's Day, honey, and I thought maybe we could do something special and play a little board game.
Right. I have something really special planned out for you too. Okay.
Okay, let's do this. I told you I'd win.
This is so weird.
I love this game.
I swear we just did this. I'm having serious deja vu right now.
What's going on?
Hi, honey. What's all this?
Is everything okay?
No, everything's fine.
Well, I got a surprise for you. It's Valentine's Day, honey. I thought maybe we'd play a board game to celebrate.
Great. Really weird. Everything's fine. I have some serious deja vu here. Like, I always know that, it's your turn and you're gonna end. There you go, you excavate again. I just keep excavating, and that's gonna be my move. Like, I'm gonna do it, but then I don't, and you do it again, and then...
I told you.
No! Something is just really off about this right now. I don't know what's going on.
Honey, it's just a game.
I don't know what to do. Like, it just keeps happening. This is... Hi, honey. That's great. It's a great surprise.
Is everything okay?
I'm fine. No!
Looks like I won!
I don't know what to do!
I told you!
If I don't win, I'm not gonna get out of this loop! What is happening?
Well, it's Valentine's Day, honey, and I thought maybe we could do something special and play a little board game.
Awesome. I didn't get you anything because I'm a selfish, thoughtless husband, I'm worthless. I can win this time. I got this. I got this. I got this. I don't got this. I don't got this.
All right, I won. Honey, it's just a game. Calm down.
This is everything. This is my life. This is a loop. Round and round I go.
Well, it's Valentine's Day, honey, and I thought maybe we could do something special and play a little board game. We've only played one time.
No, this is like the 100th time we played and I keep losing.
Calm down. You need to calm down or I'm not going to want to play board games with you. This is why I don't like playing board games with you.
Hi guys, thanks for watching. If you like what I do, please follow Gaming Unplugged and all them socials, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Until next time, game on.
Hey everybody, Even Steven here. Today we're going to look at my board game weekend with my friends. Every month we have a weekend where we get together and game. Here is how I do it. I'm going to show you how to pick our games, how we choose to see who did the best and the worst that weekend. Here we go. One of the tough things about board game day, whether it's weekly or monthly, is picking what game to play with all the people that you have there. So what me and my board game group do is we pick the picker. We each have a special dice that we pick, and whoever is in, let's say it's the start of the evening and all 6 people are here, we'll take all 6 dice, roll them, and then you'll put them in one of the available slots on the back here. So let's say the highest number puts their dice here, and everyone will place their dice accordingly. Then there's a chute in the back, and it's like Plinko. It's going to come out, and whoever is in this position will get to pick the first board game for the night. So we just tilt the dice down, they go through, and then in this case, the blue player would pick the board game for that night. Then afterwards, when we have to pick again, the blue dice is out. So that way everyone gets a game that night that they get to pick for sure. Another thing we've added to our board game weekend group is that we have a scoring system for the games that we play so we can see who is the board game champion for that weekend. So we have 1-star games that are 30 minutes about, we have 2 stars that are about an hour, and 3 stars that's about an hour and a half. Based on the position that you get in the game, you will roll a specific dice to advance on the score track to see who is the board game champion. We also have streaks, so if you win 2 games in a row, you get to roll 10-sided dice, etc., etc. This makes gaming fun, and even jockeying for those positions in games that much more important. The last thing that we've added to our board game weekend is the scoreboard. So based on the die that you roll, you move your meeple that has a magnet that number of spaces on the score track, and by the end of the weekend, after adding up all the points, we'll see who is in the lead. Whoever is in the lead will take home the golden meeple that they will have and in their house until the next board game weekend, and it passes on to the next board game champion. We also have a Hall of Fame board to see who is the past board game champion and who did the worst, just for fun. And also we're going to have an average points per weekend so we can see who averages the most points per every weekend. Okay everybody, that is my board game weekend, some fun things that we do with my group every month. Let me know in the comments, do you have any other ideas or cool things that you do with your group on board game day? We'll see you next time.
Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I'm here to bring you another episode of Solo Thrash, Amerithrash gaming for those of us who like to play alone. Except that today, I'm not going to be all that Amerithrashy. Today I want to talk about solo playable worker placement games that still have a lot of theme to them. They may not have cool miniatures or a lot of dice to chuck, but they can still tell a darn good story. First, I want to highlight a solo gaming classic, which is Robinson Crusoe from Portal Games. In Robinson, you are marooned on an island and trying to complete one of several possible scenarios, some of which might involve cannibals. Step by painstaking step, you fight through setback after setback, injury after injury, in a brutal fight to survive. And this game truly makes you feel that way. Plus, it has a few dice in it, like the weather die, which you will soon learn to despise. Second, I want to showcase Testament, the legacy of Duke de Crecy, which is also published by Portal Games. In this game, you can play solo in one of 2 ways: as the head of a family trying to arrange good marriages and build up your family's prestige over several generations, or as a nobody who performs genealogical research to lay claim to a large inheritance. Either way, it's a lot of fun to arrange terrible marriages for your children, or to pretend that you are secretly descended from a countess. And last but not least, I want to recommend Viticulture. Every action in the game ties beautifully into the theme of running a vineyard in Tuscany. You can plant fields, give tours of your beautiful establishment, squander the inheritance you received from your parents. It all just ties together so nicely. Well, except for the fact that you age grapes instead of wine. Don't try that one at home. Not all worker placement games are about farming or trading, although those can be pretty fun too. Even though we normally use Amerithrash and thematic as sort of interchangeable terms in gaming, I just wanted to showcase the fact today that any game using any mechanic can still tell a pretty good story. So try one of these out, and happy gaming.
What's up, everybody? We are the Brothers Murph. We are. And we are in a mall. What? That's not an adventure.
I mean, we're not at home.
That's true.
And that's kind of the whole point. It's like play games elsewhere.
Elsewhere. And a mall is just another fine place to play. And we're here because the mall plays a part in every single person's life at some point.
Unless you live in like small podunk town, like,
and we're not talking to you. No, just kidding. Even so, it's like you'd go to the big town to go to the mall, probably.
Go to the town to go to the mall.
But this is the Brothers Murph in the mall, and then you'll see what game we're gonna play that fittingly takes place in a mall.
You can probably guess.
Join us, won't you? Now Spencer's is a special place because they have like little like naughty toys and silly things, and so it's pretty much completely powered by teenage boys going like. Oh, dude, let's go to Boss, man. Get some sick suits, get like fresh and cut up, whatnot. What are you talking about? Boss, Hugo Boss. He's a designer. Okay. I want to get like a nice loud suit, you know.
It's like, I don't know how I feel about this. Like, it's great that being nerdy is super cool nowadays, and I really support that, but like, this is like in a Spencer's, like in a normal, like, it's just an odd feeling when nerdiness is this accepted.
It's great. Don't let the kids see. It's a slaughterhouse. It's the innards of teddy bears. No, no. It's okay. Nothing to see here. It's not the death of tons of kids' dreams.
Why do all malls smell exactly the same?
It's because of that, dude.
Yeah, right? It's just like perfume and chrome.
Okay, okay. I don't know if you guys ever heard the stuff snow. I don't know what it is. It's like snow, and it's going in my face.
So we're in a mall, and I really only know of one game that takes place in a mall. It's probably more, but that game is Magic Maze. I don't understand this game. Why are they in a mall? Why is it fantasy themed? Why are they like dwarves? I don't get anything about this game, but it's super fun, and it's in a mall. We're in a mall. Pan over there to show them, Mike.
It's real. That's a good shot.
Let's play it.
Alright, so this is Magic Maze. This is a game that you actually play silently, and you're trying to discover where the items you need to steal are from a magical mall.
Yeah, it's a cooperative game where no one controls one pond. You just control a direction, like north, south, east, or west.
Right, so you have to silently say like, hey, I need you to move north because we have to steal the stuff and get out of the mall. Quick, quick, quick. Go, go, go!
So fun, so hard. So, this mall has a lot of places that we can't afford. There's Bloomingdale's. There's Louis Vuitton. Yeah, good joke. We get it. We can't go there. But it's nice to know that at the end of this mall is Target, the great unifier. Everyone is welcome here at Target. Well, that's gonna be it. What a more fitting place to do our outro than here by the board games. And with this guy right here, Scout's honor, you know, 3 fingers. Scout is trustworthy, loyal, brave, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, clean, brave, and reverent. Sure, might have missed something there, but whatever. Thanks for coming to the mall with us. In the comments below, let us know where you used to love to go in the mall. For me, it was like Anchor Blue. That's where I got my shorts. That's where I got my shirts.
Blue is where it was at. It's very, Anchor Blue is accurate.
I go to Zoomies, pop over to Zoomies for my skate shoes.
It's true.
So until next time, check us out on all forms of social media. Check us out on Twitch, where we stream board games all the time.
Yeah.
And check out our YouTube channel, which is just YouTube with
the Brothers Murph.
That's us two.
Until next time, it's good to be back here adventuring while board gaming.
Just remember, okay? Life is an adventure.
So bring a game. Maybe this one.
Yeah.
This one? What's this one?
Quick Deluxe.
No, let's bring, not Catan. Let's bring, go this way.
Scooting.
Pandemic? Greatest game ever made?
Oh, yeah.
Anybody?
So there you have it, another Throat Punch Lunch in the books. Thanks so much for joining us. We certainly appreciate it. It's why we put this content out there for your viewing pleasure, so we hope you enjoy it. I want to thank all my contributors, and I want to let you know how much I appreciate the work you put into making this show a reality, because without you guys, there wouldn't be a show. That's pretty much how it goes. So I want to thank you guys as well. Well, that is it for us. We're going to come back here in the next couple of weeks and have another episode for you. But until then, we'll see you on the flip side.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.